Hey folks, I'm actually at Gammons Gulch movie set near Benson, Arizona for this week's update, not just on Contention, but more importantly, Blue Steel, my proposed remake of the early John Wayne film. I have some somewhat disappointing news about that project, but also some good news. So I'll start with the bad. After weeks and weeks of working on this film, I was chosen to make this by a certain company and given only $20,000 as the budget for it, which is very, very challenging. The last few weeks, I've just been struggling with the folks at that company on the shooting schedule, them wanting me to add more things to the budget, them wanting our shooting days to be longer and longer and longer. And to make a long story short, we were butting heads so much that this past Thursday, they decided to pull the plug completely on Blue Steel. I kind of saw it coming, unfortunately, because we just were not agreeing on the direction for this movie. However, they threw me another curveball. They said, we don't want you to make Blue Steel, but you can still make another Western of your choosing if you can find a script in the same time frame and for the same budget. Now they're telling me that with only a week to go before we start production. So it's obviously majorly challenging. And I spent all of Thursday thinking of what I could possibly make in such a short time. I thought about my Blackbird scripts, Arizona Ambush and Duel in the Dark. I thought about making another John Wayne remake on one of his public domain movies. Probably watched about 15 of those on Thursday, but none of them were simple enough to plan in that short amount of time and pretty much change everything that I've been working for weeks to create with Blue Steel. And then I thought of a new idea. Years and years ago, before many of you met me, I made a crime movie called The Men Who Robbed the Bank. And I thought to myself, I could change that into a Western and remake my own film. So basically, it's a Reservoir Dogs style story with these 5 guys who rob a bank, and they're waiting in this cabin for the money that they stole to show up so that they can split it 5 different ways. And there's all this tension, and we see flashbacks about their stories. I like the old film, but I saw this as an opportunity to not just change it into a Western, but to improve upon what I did back in 2013. So although it's very disappointing that we won't be making Blue Steel, and I know that probably saddens many of you, I am moving forward, and this coming week, we will start production on the remake of The Men Who Robbed the Bank, which is currently being titled The Five. And my goal, the reason that I proceeded with this versus just canceling everything altogether, is to involve as many of the elements, the horses, and all the things that I've lined up for Blue Steel, and the people too. Many of you who were signed up to be small parts and supporting parts and extras in Blue Steel. My goal is to use as many of you as possible to make a good Western. And so far from the actors I've sent the script to, getting a lot of enthusiasm back about the 5. So that's really exciting. And I hope you all understand that I'm also disappointed about Blue Steel, but this decision was somewhat out of my control. That being said, you can imagine that all of what's happened, which has been very stressful, threw a curveball into me making progress on Contention this past week. But I was still able to do some things, including start my rewrite on episode 3, get closer to publishing episode 1 as a paperback, which we'll be announcing in June. And today, just walking around Gammons Gulch, where we'll be filming a lot of Contention, if not all of Contention, has been great to just talk with John Mars about it and plan on the buildings that we plan to add to the space and all of that. So, as you know, I made the 12 Westerns, and there were so many hard things that we had to go through to get those films made. This has also been difficult, but you learn these lessons as you make movies, and I think it makes you a better filmmaker. So I'm seeing it as an opportunity to learn, to move forward, and to make another great Western. So thank you for checking this out. And as of next Sunday, when I check back in with you, we will have already started filming the 5. I'll see you then.